Right, before we get into this video, please make sure to leave all assumptions at the door, because remember, assumptions make bad conclusions. And just like how condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance, preconceived ideas of what you think spirituality is before you know will also hold you back. So before we get into the video, if you are going through a spiritual awakening and you're a seeker of the truth, make sure to like, subscribe and click all notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly videos. Hey my friends, welcome back to another episode of Warriors Amongst Men, Spirits Amongst Flesh. My name is Sam and I'm here to help you liberate from your flesh, define your purpose and live the life that you came here to live. And today my friends, I've got another powerful episode for you. I'm going to be talking about what is spirituality, and I've got to issue another warning. Prepare to be unplugged. Prepare to question everything. If you are just going through initial spiritual awakening, then this video will really help you to understand what the path is, what enlightenment is, because I've been on this journey for a long time now, about probably 6-7 years, and along this path you'll notice that there are many trap holes, many distractions, and whether they are intentionally out there or just humanity is collectively awakening, so naturally we're going to get things wrong along the journey. So you don't have to believe anything I say, and don't believe anything anyone says. You need to know it for yourself. So if you hear anything here today that you don't quite understand or anything, then please leave me a comment below, like asking me or maybe telling me what you think. And be sure to do your own research on anything you hear today. So my friends, what is spirituality? Well, before we get into what spirituality is, we first need to understand why you would even get into spirituality, because I'm not the sort of person that was sort of born into like a hippie family, or I was already on the path. You know, how did I get into it? I was brought up into a family of, there was 5 of us boys, so I lived in a big household. I didn't particularly go to church, although I was christened. And there came a situation in my life. You know, I was at the gym, I was like training to be a fitness model, and I was a successful barber at the time, cutting hair, and I used to do motocross. So how is it now I'm now talking in the way that I am, speaking about spirituality, teaching spirituality? How do you go from that sort of lifestyle to being a sort of teacher, or at least a sharer of information on YouTube? Well, like many of you that got onto this path, what happened was I was in a situation where I was forced to make a decision. Now, whether external forces have forced you into this situation or you got yourself there by your own behaviour, either way, I was forced into a situation where I had to make a choice. Do I go this way or this way? And I needed answers at the time, and I didn't really have anyone I felt that I could speak to. So at the time, I was going through a breakdown, you might say, and I always say breakdowns are breakthroughs. I didn't know what to do. I was faced with a situation that I haven't been taught how to handle. So what happened was I was like, well, what do I do? Do I just pray to God? So I was like, God, I know I'm new to this, it's a bit weird, a bit alien to me. Are you an alien God? And I was like, please, if you are real, show me. Please give me some answers, help me. And you know, nothing. I got nothing back. And I thought, well, that doesn't work. So I thought to myself, okay, how can I just make a decision on my own? And so what happened was I started to think, okay, well, what do I want? What does everyone else want? And how can I make the best decision for all involved? And this was a difficult decision to make because I realized that the best for all involved wasn't what everyone else thought was right. So I had to go against society's expectations, against my family's expectations, my friends, in fact everyone. And I had to listen to my heart because I knew that what's best for all involved isn't what people have been brainwashed to think is best for all involved. So I started to realize that the truth wasn't just what everyone else thought it was. It's actually much deeper than that, and you only start to know the truth if you think about it for yourself. And so from this point onwards, I started to listen to my heart. I started to really think about things for myself rather than just going along with what everyone else was doing, rather than just following the instructions. And I started to apply this to every single part of my life, whether it's listening to the news, current events in the world, or even health advice, or even job advice, or everything. I started to just think, okay, what is the actual truth? I started to question and think for myself. And I think that is the start of what spirituality actually is. But let's go deeper, because that's just the beginning. So after this point, obviously I was thinking for myself, and I realized that when you seek, you shall find. Because every single moment from then onwards, every single choice I made, and the shift in my mindset started to bring about new people, places and things. I started to bring about a whole different energy in my life. My whole world started to change, and this is why I say breakdowns are actually breakthroughs. So just through my own experience, I started to see reality in a completely different way, and I started to understand that the universe operates in a much different way than what I previously thought. So then I started to want to question these things with other people, see what other people's opinions were. And I started to realize that most people in my current immediate surrounding environment, weren't thinking like I was, because obviously they hadn't gone through anything like this. So then I started to seek other people that had gone through things like this. So I came across different channels on YouTube that were speaking about it, and I started to read books about it. I started to expand my awareness of reality, and I started to realize that humanity was at a very low level of consciousness. And why is this? I started to question deeper and deeper. And consciousness just means awareness. So I started to look into this deeper and deeper. And obviously you come across different information showing you, like conspiracy theories, you come across health information, and sooner or later you start to realize that the whole world is backwards. Because spirituality really means, if you think about it, the word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, meaning breath. So naturally we are all spiritual beings. If you are breathing, you are a spiritual being. So along my journey I started to learn about human psychology, because I wanted to obviously understand myself better. I wanted to understand my own mind, and also wanted to understand humanity, why it is the way that it is, because I started to see that everything is backwards on this planet. Lawyers destroy justice, schools destroy education, doctors destroy health, governments destroy freedom, religion destroys spirituality. Everyone is deficient rather than full of health. And we've got psychics and not spiritual people that just simply know because of a understanding of the knowledge that they've received. I started to think, why is humanity in such a backwards and suppressed state? It wasn't until I understood psychology that I realized why this information was not exposed to humanity. And maybe I thought, if humanity was exposed to this information, that everyone else would wake up, would go to a new level of awareness, a new level of freedom, and people realize that they are the cause, for the most part at least, of their own suffering. And so, human psychology, what I understood was that human behavior is dictated by human perception, and human perception is formed due to the information that you're exposed to. And I thought, well, where is information coming from? You know, it's coming from the television, which tells lies to your vision, the radio, schools, mainstream science, the governments. You know, where is it coming from? How are people getting educated? Because the education system is backwards. The word education comes from the Latin educare, which means to bring out. So spirituality is all about being in alignment with the natural state of the human experience, with the universe. Even the word yoga means union, right? And like I said, spirit means breath. So yoga is all about breathing techniques and stuff like that, to put you in alignment with nature. If you think about it, when you breathe out carbon dioxide, it's going into the trees, they breathe it in, then they breathe out oxygen, and then you breathe in that. So half of your lungs are sitting out on the tree. And the point is, you're connected to everything involved, everything in this world. You're just a tiny cell within a much larger entity. And so when you realize this, you sort of have a moral obligation to wake up all the other cells within the entity, because you realize we're all co-creating the collective human experience. So we have a moral obligation to wake people up. And so I went deeper and deeper and deeper, and I started to realize that spirituality is all about assisting in the evolution of consciousness, helping people to wake up and be self-aware of their actions, so they're not causing harm to other sentient beings, etc. So that they are making conscious choices in their lives. And the opposite of that, what you might call Satanism, I've done a video on Satanism on my YouTube channel, is all about stopping evolution, because Satanists see themselves as God. So what they see themselves as is they want to be able to do whatever they want, and they want to be able to get away with it. So they seek to get rid of morality from human society, so that we will not punish them when they want to do whatever it is that they want to do, whether that's raping or, you know, basic blatant murder. And so Satanism is all about suppressing the information from the masses. They don't want you to know knowledge, and that's why they call it occult knowledge, because the word occult means hidden. So spirituality is, you might say it's not good or it's not bad really, because it's all about seeking knowledge, right? And when you've gone through an awakening, you're seeking knowledge and you're seeking understanding so that you can have wisdom, because the information you receive, the way, or especially knowledge, if you understand real knowledge, which is gnosis, which is knowledge of self. So you get knowledge of self, and then when you understand that knowledge and you apply it to your life, that becomes wisdom. And so knowledge isn't good or bad. Knowledge is neutral, right? You can use it either way. You can use it for positive or negative, just like a hammer. You can build a house or you can break a house down with it. You can hit someone with it. So in that sense, spirituality is neutral. But I would say you're either a light worker, helping in the evolution of human consciousness, helping people to evolve, or you're a Satanist and you're, whether consciously or unconsciously, assisting in the suppression of the evolution of consciousness. And Satanism is all about manipulating others to keep each other asleep, right? We call them the sheeple, right? They just do as they're told, they don't think for themselves. So spirituality, for me, is all about being a light worker. It's all about helping in the evolution of consciousness, because ultimately that will lead to a paradise on Earth, because when you think about it, Earth is such a beautiful place. It could be so amazing. It could be like Pandora from Avatar. But yet, because of the low level of consciousness on this planet, right, we're all ego-driven, selfish, you know, and it goes really deep. It's not just because people are money-driven. It's because people are under satanic attack, satanic manipulation. And so there's sort of a hidden war going on that's been going on for thousands of years. And you start to find this out. Again, a lot of people, you hear stuff like this and you think, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory. Yeah, who do you think made that term conspiracy theory? Well, that came from the JFK days in 1967, when there were so many holes in the official story about JFK's death. I think he was shot in the front of the head, but yet apparently the person that shot him was behind him, so it went like all the way around, then hit him in the head. Anyway, the point is there's so many holes in the official story that actually came from the CIA, the term conspiracy theory, to try and shut people up. Just like right now they've got you wearing masks just to shut you up. Do as you're told. And we can talk about that in another video. But the point is, you've got to think about it for yourself, right? Don't believe what I'm saying. Spirituality is all about helping in the evolution of consciousness. So this is why I say religion destroys spirituality, because religion is all about blind belief. That's where it's based, blind belief. You believe, but you don't know. Spirituality is all about knowing, because you've done your own research. And actually, religion is designed by the Satanists to cause an imbalance in the brain. Go and check out my video, The One World Religion of the New World Order, for more information. But basically it causes an imbalance in the brain because it's very much right hemisphere based. The right hemisphere of the brain is all about blind belief, and I go into that in that video. But even a belief in the government, maybe you don't believe in religions and you just believe in a government, that we need someone outside of you to govern us, right? You need someone to tell you what to do. That's left hemisphere imbalance, right? And spirituality is all about full brain activation, the neocortex activation. So you're seeking knowledge. That means you're awake. You want knowledge. If you're not seeking knowledge, then mentally you're asleep. And spiritually you are asleep if you do not care about the state of the world, right? That means you do not care. That means your heart is closed. That means spiritually you are asleep, right? So if you care about what's going on the world and you want to help humanity to evolve, then you are spiritually, you are awake. And I would say physically you are asleep if you are not taking real world action to make real world change. Because now, if you want to be physically awake as well, you need to have courage, right? So you've got courage, care, and knowledge. So you've got the trifecta, right? So it's all about following your willpower, right? You've got to be able to say yes when you want to say yes, no when you want to say no, respect me when you want to say respect me. Right? It's all about speaking up and actually living your life, right? And spirituality is also about being aware of your spirit, where your spirit is driving you in life, and where your ego, your mind, your fear, because remember the ego is based in fear because it's all about survival, right? The only reason we have an ego is so that we can survive, right? You need to have an ego because you live in a society, right? A supposedly civilized society. The ego is the mask, right? And sometimes it's necessary to have a mask because, you know, you've got to be humble enough to be aware enough of other people's level of consciousness so that you can communicate with them, right? So the ego is necessary, but it's based in fear, so you don't want to be following what the ego wants you to be doing, right? So you've got to be aware enough to see where your own mind is taking you down the wrong path in life, and where your spirit wants you to go, so you can follow your spirit, so you can follow your heart. So it's all about letting love guide you and not fear. That's what I would say spirituality is all about. Now, I've actually got a 2-part series on my Patreon account on the planned net, which is very interesting. It's about the two minds that you have, right? Within you, you've got the devil and you've also got the angel. And I've also got a few videos on acceptance and the initiation of the cosmic source player, right? Which is all about spiritual awakening. I've actually got over 60 exclusive Warriors Amongst Men content, videos, audiobooks. If you're interested, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below. I appreciate all your love and support. And before I go, be sure to let me know what you think spirituality is in the comment section below. Maybe you think I've left something out. Let me know. I do read your comments and I try to reply to as many of you as possible. And make sure to like if you haven't already, subscribe and click the notification bell. And thank you all so much for watching and for all your love and support. I also do one-to-one sessions if you're interested in speaking to me one-to-one. And until next time, my friends, peace and love.